Hi everyone, our team has been awarded the task of developing a construction management plan for the construction of a carbon-neutral aged care facility at the University of Wollongong's Innovation Campus in Fairy Meadow. The facility will be focused on working towards 2 of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the first being Goal 3, Good Health and Wellbeing. Australia's population is ageing rapidly and more innovative infrastructure is needed. The facility also aims to work towards Goal 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities due to the significant environmental impact of the global construction industry.
Risk management is integral to the successful execution of a project. It is essential that risk management practices are consistently applied throughout the project lifestyle to ensure the safety of both project and personal outcomes. A risk management plan is formulated to facilitate this process, enabling the precise identification, assessment, monitoring and mitigation of risks. This was conducted for the Desert Rose Aged Care Facility project by first completing a risk breakdown structure, which was used to categorise the risks related to this type of project. Each risk was then rated using a matrix based off the consequence level and the likelihood of that risk occurring to give an overall rating. This was all compiled into the risk register, with each risk having an outline of strategies to help minimise and control it, and overall completing the project successfully and on time.
To determine the required time frame that the project was anticipated to take from pre-construction, construction, and then handover, a schedule was developed within Microsoft Project for the whole timeline. For this, we started at client engagement, followed by the entire design phase, then to pre-construction, construction, and post-construction, followed by the project closure. Within the construction phase of the project, the following activities were included as to estimate the entire timeframe required. These activities included the site preparation, foundations, structural works, service and asset connections as required, interior fitment and finishes, testing and commissioning of all services and the structure itself, as well as landscaping and then the final handover to the client. When this was completed, it was estimated that at an ideal condition, it would take approximately 272 working days. In addition to the construction phase, post-construction activities were also included as part of the schedule. The project team agreed for a 12-month period to be allocated for a warranty, defects and liability period. Within this time, it also included final documentation and closeout procedures required to submit and finish the project. From this, 260 working days were allocated, which is not including public holidays or weekends. The construction labour value was also calculated within Microsoft Project using the resourcing tool. The estimated wages were determined using the Migration Average Australian Wages study conducted in 2024, as shown in the table on the slide. The final construction value and labour costs were seen to be over 1.7 million. This value is only for the labour undertaken, not for materials or any other paid subconsultant behaviours.
For the Desert Rose Aged Care Facility, a monitoring and control plan was developed. The key parts of this were key strategies, KPIs, baselines, quality control, and quality assurance. For the monitoring and control plan, key strategies were used, as shown here. Notable examples are the control mechanisms, which included scope, schedule, cost, and quality control, risk management, communication, and project digitization. Key performance indicators are an invaluable tool for a project manager. As shown here are the KPIs that were used for the Desert Rose Aged Care Facility. These all encompass every facet of the actual project plan and allows us to have a idea of where things might be going wrong or might be improving. For any good project report, baselines are important. So for our project, we elected for a cost management baseline and a schedule overview baseline. Notable parts of this were labour cost, construction duration, and total project duration. Quality assurance is an important part of a monitoring and control plan, with the quality having to be assured. For this, we use SMART goals and quality assurance activities. Notable ones for this would be quality audits, personnel verification, and design compliance, especially useful for an aged care facility. Quality control goes hand in hand with quality assurance. with key measures and measurable attributes being set in place. Important ones would be ramp incline, doorway widths, and acoustic performance to ensure that the house is livable for aged care residents.
Site management for the Desert Rose House will look at a desktop analysis, assumptions, constraints, stakeholder management, work health and safety, and industry relations. Desktop analysis for the Desert Rose House will look at the project site, its existing services, its water, stormwater, sewer and gas connections, its network connections, and also the transport and connectivity in the area. Assumptions made for the Desert Rose House will fall under areas such as geography and topography, accessibility, the workforce, compliance, existing infrastructure, weather, materials and equipment, and local support. Constraints considered for the Desert Rose House include design, technical, economic, time, environmental, and legal constraints, and they will also look at workplace facility and site services constraints and plant access and traffic management constraints. Managing stakeholders for the Desert Rose House will include identifying the stakeholders and looking at their individual opportunities, risks, and methods of engagement. Work health and safety measures for the Desert Rose House will include New South Wales Government and Safe Work Australia guidelines, such as the Health and Safety Regulation of 2017 and the Work Health and Safety Act of 2011. Accidents and injuries on site will be reported to Safe Work Australia, and anticipated risks will be brainstormed in order to facilitate preventative measures. Industry Relations New South Wales promotes compliance with industrial legislation, workplace reform, and leads public sector industrial reform for New South Wales. It participates as a partner in the Commonwealth's National Workplace Relations Framework. The Desert Rose House will implement the following legislation: the Government Sector Employment Act of 2013, Public Holidays Act of 2010, the Annual Holidays Act of 1944, Industrial Relations Act of 1996, Employment Protection Act of 1982, and the Long Service Leave Act of 1955.
The final phase of the Desert Rose aged care facilities construction, the handover phase, has two main phases within it: commissioning and contract completion, both of which need to be understood by all stakeholders before even the commencement of the construction phase. For the commissioning stage, testing will take place post-construction for engineering certification and to ensure Australian standards and codes are met. Following successful testing, consultant and client approval will take place before the final handover. To avoid miscommunication and any issues that may stem from it, all stakeholders are required to read and understand the relevant manuals. To ensure the safety of residents and staff, all staff will be required to undergo training. The final step will include a close-out meeting to finalise the operations and maintenance manuals to ensure a smooth handover.